Our first learning module, Igniting the Passion of Skilled Trade Students, features Charles Kachmar of Maxwell High School of Technology in Lawrenceville, Georgia. Charles was one of our first place winners in the 2018 prize for teaching excellence. As a welding teacher, Charles is a master at getting his students fired up about what they're learning, and it all begins with his own passion for the subject, which is absolutely palpable. You got 2,800 degrees of hot metal at your fingertips, he says. That's something to be excited about. To convey his love of his trade, the coolest thing in the world, he calls it, Charles strolls the cafeteria and chats up students, all while wearing his welding gear and carrying his torch. To recruit more Spanish speakers, he creates flyers for his class in their native language. And at the end of the year, as his seniors head off to industry or to college, Charles holds a signing ceremony to celebrate their achievements, just like high schools do for their student athletes who are about to participate in sports at the next level. As Charles explains it, signing day not only makes the students feel great, but it's a terrific way to solidify partnership with area businesses. If you'd like to dig a little deeper into the concept of bringing out the passion in your skilled trade students, you'll find additional material in our resource library. You can use the main menu to click ahead and draw upon supplemental content to help you answer the relevant application questions, or you can dig in and explore it later at your convenience. Meantime, we invite you to sit back, hear what Charles has to say, and watch the sparks fly.
Where else are you going to get up and melt mild steel into a molten pool of puddle instantaneously in any other classroom in America but in here? You know, you're going to have 120 amps of electricity running through your fingertips through a 1/8 inch thick electrode. That excites a kid. You know, that gets, it's like, this isn't none of that virtual reality stuff that you see. This is the real McCoy. I tell them, I said, death is not off the table in here. And it's true. I mean, this is the real stuff. So, you know, for the first time in their lives, a lot of these kids have been forced into a box where they have to sit and either regurgitate information. And, you know, we have this, this objectives of a class that they have to accomplish. And there's so many different ways that you can accomplish those objectives. I turn them loose in the lab. So I try to make about 67% of the time we're in the lab welding, and 33% of the time we're actually doing the book work that's required to do. And the subject matter gives me that flexibility. The kids are, for the most part, a lot of them are successful for the first time in their life in anything academically or associated with school. I can tell you how many emails I get from parents saying the first couple weeks, oh my gosh, my kid loves your class. It's the first time he's ever been excited about school. And to look and say, you know, I did this. You actually have a tangible product in the kid's hand that says, look, I did this and I did it well. Test scores are test scores. They're used to that. They're not used to burning metal. So I think that's why I consider it the hottest class in school. It literally is. I've been teaching in comprehensive high schools now since 1999, and I watch them prance all these incredible athletes, and Gwinnett County is the breeding ground for SEC sports athletes. I mean, basketball, football, track. And I was the tech ed guy, so I had the big wide plotter printer, wide format printer that I would print all the banners. Congratulations, so-and-so. And I said, you know what? Somebody's got to herald our kids in the skilled trades. I said, because they don't realize this kid, I had 4 kids last year that got jobs working at a steel company making $23.50 an hour. They're 18 years old. They're still living in their mom and dad's basement. You know, their mom is still providing 3 squares a day as long as you're in by curfew. That's a great deal because you're making $46,000 a year. You're going to bank it. It really cemented my business relationships with my partners. Those employers and those educators from the post-secondary schools became such incredibly strong partners because of that one event. They came, the steel company came with goodie bags filled with shirts and hats and all sorts of trinkets with their logo on it to give to every kid that was going to work for them. And then what we did was we had an application. It was actually the registration application for NCCER, which is our certification company. And I put it down in front of every one of them and made it look like they were signing a letter of intent. And we were snapping pictures. We had we have a desktop publishing class here at Maxwell High School, and those guys came down and they did a professional photographs, and on the screen behind the kids I put a big long table up. I had school color balloons on either end. I had a tablecloth with it said Maxwell High School on the front of it, and then behind them off the projector I ran the logo for whatever school or job they were going for. And then the representative from that company or that apprenticeship was here, shook the kid's hand. It's almost like this kid got the 100 on the test and now he's got an opportunity to win the Snickers bar or something like that. The other kids that maybe didn't perform are looking at it and saying, how come I'm not up there? The kids that were on the outside looking in, maybe they didn't perform. I could tell you right now, I've got kids that don't do everything. They try to, you know, submit other people's work for their own, and I mean, it happens, and they're kids. You can't get mad at them for doing that, but it has a consequence. And but the diligence and the hard work also has a payoff. And so those kids, I think, benefit from seeing, look at, they know that that kid that's sitting up there that's signing, he worked his tail off, or she worked her tail off. And, you know, maybe it will ignite them. The one that loves it the most are the parents. Here's their kid for probably the first time in any school-related activity, they made it. This is just what a relief to know that, you know, the parent will tell you, I'm so relieved to know that he's almost making as much money as my husband, right? Or as me. And this is the greatest thing that ever happened for their kid, because all the anxiety that they've had during maybe 3 or 4 years of high school, wondering, oh my gosh, she's going to graduate or she's going to graduate. What's going to happen next? Where do they go next? They don't fit into any mold. And all of a sudden, boom, skilled trades opened so many doors for these kids. So they see that success. I print flyers, and I print them in Spanish and in English. Aprende a soldar. And I tell them, I said, come learn how to weld. And a lot of the immigrant workers that we have in our county are contractors, and their fathers and their uncles and their brothers own these construction firms that are out there, you know, working and helping to build our communities. But we're trying to say, okay, this is the next generation of that family and possibly that business. My goal personally was, let's get them in, let's get them in the fold. Let's teach them how to do it correctly. Let's get them OSHA certified. Let's show them how insurance works and workers' compensation and licensing and applying for a permit in Gwinnett County, so that they're no longer in the shadow. They are a vibrant part of our construction industry. So that's one of the goals. So when kids see that in Spanish, that really turned the corner. I mean, I went to the ESOL teacher here at Maxwell, and I asked her to take my flyer, and I asked her to translate the whole thing to Spanish for me, which she did. I redesigned it, I printed it up, and I went and I purposely hit schools that have large Hispanic populations, large migrant community, and my numbers doubled in 1 year. The other thing that helped us is that we offer an embedded math credit. The state of Georgia increased all of the graduation requirements for academic units, which sort of could have hurt us in our population, but we decided that we could actually offer an embedded math class here in the welding program, that because you're doing math every day with the measurement, and it's called, you know, so kids realize they can get credit for their senior math and learn how to weld. They're coming. And you know, these are kids that are going to be trapped in a pre-calculus and a calculus class at their normal high school, yet right after high school, they're not going to college. They already know they're not going to college. And the last thing I think that contributes to our growth, everything is reverting back to the 1950s. It really is. There is a great deal of understanding now that four-year college is not for everybody, and it's really not necessary. The skilled trades are dying for people. And I'm here to tell you that you'll hear people say, oh, all the welders and all these people are retiring and we're going to have this big void. Guess what? They're already in Florida and in Sun City in Arizona. they've already retired. This is 2019. They're gone. And there's a void now. So these kids that are studying welding right now, they're walking into a gold mine. And if you're good, there's a bidding war. When I see a kid successful and I see an employer standing at the door basically salivating at the product that I'm going to put out on the market in May, bam, that's all the motivation I need. My Facebook has about 800 people on it. 800 are probably former students that have gone on to engineering. So many kids went to Georgia Tech I never realized. And all the jobs that they have. I have a problem with a piece of machinery in the lab. I put it out on my Facebook, and in 1 minute, I got one of my former students say, "Coach, that's your thermal overload something or other." I'm not an electrical engineer at all. He's an electrical engineer. He's telling me what part I need to hook what to do step by step in this little post on my Facebook. I mean, so when I see a kid like that I know in high school, somehow maybe I ignited that flame to get him where he's at, and you could see the passion he has for his industry or her industry. That's it. I just had a young lady took a job that I taught in 2008. She took time off and she traveled the world. She got her degree in electrical engineering or computer engineering, and she just announced yesterday that she accepted an offer from some company in some kind of systems analyst engineering. And I mean, I celebrate that. That is the greatest feeling in the world, to know here's this kid that sat down for the first time, introduced to anything engineering in my classroom. I like to think somehow in some way I was responsible. Now, how do I get excited here? I know I was instrumental here, because 99% of them have never welded before in their life. And I know I introduced that to them. They're excited. And now they're going to go to work, or they're going to the apprenticeship. And the apprenticeships are coming back looking for more kids. So evidently we're doing something right. You know, the employers are coming back year after year looking for people. So hopefully we're doing something right. That's my passion. That's what gets me excited.